If someone is coming to your content, to your page, to your website or whatever, and they don't know what the heck you do, like, it's time to revamp some things. You know, like, you need to show up and let people know that you are serious about this. So remember that YouTube is a search engine. So don't just create what you want to create what people are actually going to search within your niche. People to start local and then think national. If you start local and you master, you know, your city where you came from, and you on their news or on their newspaper, or, you know, just like small articles around, you can build that buzz. They're going to say, okay, she, you know, masters this little city. Now let's go larger. Let's expand that reach. That's what you need to do. You need to start YouTube. So I was like, Lord, I ain't got no camera. These people be using all this fancy stuff. I don't know what to do. And so, long story short, I just started with my phone. If I was a creator that's starting out or one that wants to go to the next level, I would pay attention more to AI and how to utilize that in my channel. Not saying to make like the AI twin or things of that nature, but to how to get your content out quicker or refine it and to make it a little bit better. My name is Kiaundra Jackson. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I was born to be dope.
Come on. This is the illest rhyme I ever wrote. Said I was born to be dope.
Back to another episode of Born to Be Dope. I am Ryan C. Greene. This is the show where we help you master, magnify, and monetize your unique dopeness so that you can 10x your impact, influence, and income. We've got a good one today. Listen, I've got a young lady in here all the way from the West Coast. Yay. So we are going to talk today about her journey. You probably have seen her. Even if you don't, you might have seen her on TV because she's been all over TV. You may even have used one of her, is it GIF or GIF, whatever, however you pronounce the word, you may have used one of hers and don't even realize that. But we have Kiaundra Jackson not in the studio, on the show today. Welcome to the show, Kiaundra.
So much for having me. I'm super excited to be here. And one day I will be in the studio meeting you in person. Yes. So we're going to make that happen too.
Either come here, I'll come out there, but we're going to be face to face. We were laughing before we went on air. Like, we've been in each other's circle and known each other at least 5 years. I mean, it was before COVID, so that's 6 years, but we've never actually met each other in person. So that's so cool about the internet, about networking. And that's what we're going to talk about today, how you can build a brand outside of your backyard with people who you may never met before, but can be an international, I'm going to call you celebrity, okay, Kiaundra? I'm going to call you a celebrity. So take that. All right, so let's jump in. I want to introduce for those who may not know who you are, because you are a licensed therapist. But let's talk about what, and we're going to go, we're going to do an intro, but we're kind of going to talk about that as well as we go. But talk about your journey through therapy and how how you got into that, and what is it you do with it now.
Absolutely. So I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. I am based here in Los Angeles, California. And to be honest with you, I didn't know that I wanted to be a therapist until like later on down in my journey. When I look back on everything, obviously hindsight was 2020. And so God was preparing me the whole entire way. But I really got into this field, as most therapists do, because of their own issues, their own drama. And for me, it was more so of my own family issues, right? So like, I grew up in Compton, California. Okay. I grew up in Compton, California, right? West Coast is the best coast. That's what they say.
I'm going to let you have it because you're my guest today.
Yep.
And I don't want no trouble. I don't want no trouble.
Yeah, you don't want none of this smoke. None, Ryan. None.
No, I don't want it.
So, I mean, I grew up around obviously like poverty and just like seeing a lot of things that I probably shouldn't see at an early age. My parents got divorced when I was like 10. My sister had a baby at a young age. I mean, it was just so much happening around the same time in my life when I was about like 10-ish years old. And so coming from that and just seeing everything that I experienced, just going through school, I was like, you know what? It really shouldn't be like this, Like, my family shouldn't be this raggedy, both sides.
Right.
And so I just felt like I wanted to go on this journey of like helping people maintain their mental health and helping people have healthy relationships. And not just romantic ones, but just like family relationships, friendships, and even like work relationships as well. And so I went through schooling, obviously, did all of that. And then like once I got into my field and got licensed, because that was a whole journey within itself, there was a lot of failures that happened along the way as well. Oh, wow. I truly found that I just wanted to spread my message outside of Compton, outside of Los Angeles, outside of California. And so I started to do that via social media. And so I went on these Facebook was the platform at the time. Went on Facebook, started making videos. I would go live every single week and just answer questions like Q&A style. Wow. And then things start rolling and people start seeing my videos, and then they started wanting me to come on their podcast, and then they wanted me to come in person to speak, and then that led to media opportunities and just so many things beyond that. And now, you know, my main focus is YouTube. And so I have had a very interesting journey, and it wasn't linear, right, but also wasn't a typical journey, or isn't a typical journey like most therapists have.
Right. You know, that's a tremendous story. We're going to talk about Compton too, because I do have some questions about that. But my first question I normally ask my guests is, and you mentioned the age, at 10 years old. At 10-year-old Kiaundra, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I honestly didn't fully know what I wanted to be. There was two things that I was passionate about at the time, which is very interesting because I'm not passionate about those things anymore. I either wanted to be a dermatologist because I grew up with eczema, like severe eczema. So I was like, I got to help people who have, you know, skin issues. Right. And then I also thought about wanting to work in the NICU, that work with the babies in the neonatal, in the hospital. So those were the two things at that age that I was swirling around thinking that I wanted to be, but obviously I'm neither of those things, and I'm no longer as passionate about those any longer, even though those are great professions. But that's kind of where I started and then transitioned to something completely different. Awesome.
I always ask that question because I like to show guests that, you know, and obviously Tim, most of us don't know what we really want to be, but most people don't grow up saying I want to be well, now they do, but in our generation beyond, I want to be a YouTube star. You know, they don't do that. So I like to ask that question. Now, I want to go to Compton for a second because, again, I'm from the East Coast, Maryland, born and raised. The only thing I know about Compton is obviously what we see in the media, what we see on TV, and those who come out of it and make it big, right? So what would you say, being from Compton, is what was one of your favorite things about, we all had, you know, what was one of the things that you loved about home, and then what was something that you think maybe the world outside of Compton gets wrong about Compton?
The one thing, there's so many things that I love about Compton, but I love that it was kind of like a community. It was genuinely a community. Like, I grew up around in the hood. If we're gonna keep it real, grew up in the hood, but everybody on our street knew each other. My grandma and my mom, you know, like, would talk to the neighbors and just kiki, and with all of the kids our age would just be outside playing and hopscotching and hula hooping and double dutching and, you know, all of the old school things. And I really appreciated community, because now I think we're so individualistic and you don't really get to know your neighbors in some places, and so everybody kind of lives their life separately. So I appreciate that. I mean, there was also people that you didn't want to hang out with and didn't want to talk to you, but, you know, for the people who had your back, you know, that was really important in our neighborhood. And we knew everybody. And it was like, you can get in trouble by your neighbors, you know, and they would come back and tell your mama or your grandma, and, like, or people would come to our house and eat, you know, like, it was just, that's just how we rolled, you know. And so I really love that about Compton, the community aspect of it when I was growing up. The thing that I think people get wrong is they underestimate people that come from Compton, right? I know we have, like, Serena Williams and Venus, and, you know, Kendrick, like, all of these great people that come from Compton, right? But I know that there's so many more people that have talents and things that are just hidden, and they aren't really poured into because they kind of are seen as an outcast, or they come from, you know, difficult upbringings or beginnings, and they kind of are put to the side. But there's some dope people born to be dope. People were born to be dope that just need somebody to pour into them and to love on them. So I think a lot of people are underestimated because they haven't been poured into in the correct way.
Oh, I love that. All right, so let's get into your journey. Now, when I met you online, when I was introduced to you, it was through, I think, Black Speakers Network, Brian O. Shout out to Brian J. Olds, and he called him by his full professional name. So shout out to Brian. But I remember early on, it was, you had started doing, you were getting a lot of media interviews. So you were a lot of, on a lot of TV shows. I think The Doctors was one that you had a recurring appearance on, and it was, you were doing the Help a Reporter Out. So for those who have been in this thing for a minute, you know about the Help a Reporter Out, HARO. As they call, I gotta check because I don't get those emails anymore. They might have just stopped sending them to me.
Me neither. Yeah, that's a whole other conversation for another day. Okay. They changed the platform, changed the name. Like,
okay, so maybe that's why I don't get it. Okay.
Yeah.
But that was like the biggest thing that I remember drew me to you first? Because you were actually one, like I was getting the emails, but I wasn't following up. I didn't know how to master that system. But was that like your first introduction? How did you end up doing that, going that lane to start getting some of these this media coverage, or was this something else that kind of led you to starting the media rise of Kiaundra Jackson?
Yeah, I think Horror or Help a Reporter Out or whatever it's called now. That was the first. That was me getting my feet wet in regards to the media space. So it really started with just like getting featured in articles, right? So it's like there are people who might be writing an article on mental health or relationships and they need an expert to chime in on that particular topic. And so they would reach out to me, or I would, put in the inquiry from Help a Reporter Out. And they will be like, oh, this is great. We want to include you in this article. And so I would just be doing that like a crazy person. One thing about me is your girl is consistent. Okay.
Yeah,
like once I put my hands and my mind to something, I'm on it. And so once I saw that was something that was yielding me some results, like I was on top of it every single day and I was getting featured left and right. I mean, you can't tell me nothing back then. I was just really on top of it. And so once I started getting featured in a lot of those articles, people started reading those articles and wanted me to come speak. I remember I spoke to an event planner. She wanted to book me for a speaking engagement, and I always inquired to say, like, how did you find me? Mm-hmm. And so she was like, yeah, you were featured in this Inc. article, and I thought she would be dope for our event. And so I just decided to follow you on social media. I reached out, and like, here we are. And so those being featured in those articles led me to other paid opportunities. And so that's why I tell people to start where you need to start, start free, start, being featured in those articles, because you never know who's going to read those and who's going to reach out to take you to the next level.
I love that. And it gives that documentation of being a professional, being the expert. I know that, and I'm in media, so I push people to do video media and get that video documentation to build your own media platforms. But it's important that, I'll ask you, tell me why it's important that you had that print media and you went that route. You didn't go out the gate and start calling the Today Show, like, hey, put me on. You don't know me, but I'm going to blow up soon. And I think a lot of times we see people who shoot too high, not that they don't deserve it or won't ever be there, but if you shoot too high too soon, like, you don't have the documentation of why you should be there. So why do you think going that print route and getting that documentation was so beneficial for you, and why others should probably follow that route?
Oh, that's good. It started off, honestly, I guess we can call it print, but it started off with just like virtual articles, right? Yeah. And then I have been featured in physical print magazines, Essence and all of those things, right? So that's a different type of energy, but it did start with like the virtual online publications, right? And then that led to physical print, and then that led to speaking, and then more like higher up media opportunities. But for me, it's all about visibility, right? I always tell people to start local and then think national. Yeah. If you start local and you master, your city where you came from, and you on their news or on their newspaper, or, just like small articles around, you can build that buzz. And then they're going to say, okay, she, masters this little city. Now let's go larger. Let's expand that reach. And so when you expand the reach, you get way more eyes and way more, people seeing your brand and just seeing the things that you have created, especially if you are someone who has products and services, all of those things you should have if you're a professional. But all of those things yield you some additional results too, and brings in some revenue as well. And so I think everything is interconnected. So I tell people to start local and then think national. Don't try to go too big too soon.
Right.
Because once you go big, and if you mess up on that larger platform, there's no going back. People are not going to want to bring you on because you just fumbled everything. And so build up that momentum, build up that expertise on a lower level, build up that muscle so you can, crush it when you get to larger stages.
Yeah. You said a lot of good things there. I mean, and one of the things is definitely that you want to make sure you're ready for the platform that you get on. Like, it doesn't serve you any purpose to be on a big show and then you mess up, because guess what? That's going to be on TV. Like, they're going to show you messing up, right? So with you, so what was your first television?
Can I be honest though? Since we're keeping it real, even though I encourage people to do local and then go national, I did the opposite, and it wasn't intentional. So
what was?
It's interesting. So I did The Doctors, which is no longer on air, but that's a national television show. That was one of the first big TV shows that I did, period. And I was like recurring, and they would call me in all the time, right, to come on when they were talking about relationship stuff. And so I did that back to back. And then I wind up doing local news. That's
But
when
you
people
still
see me
had-
like on Good Day LA, KTLA, and all of that. So I did it the opposite, but not intentionally. It was just because
Right.
they reached out to me.
Because you've done the digital print stuff, right?
Yeah.
So they saw that work. So so that's different. Like if someone calls you, listen, if a big time show call, I want to make sure this is clear. If big time show called you, you take the opportunity. Yeah, absolutely. But understand if you're the one asking for the opportunities, here's some of the reasons why you may not be getting them is because you're not ready. You don't have the documentation. Even during the digital media interviews, it gives you practice on how to answer questions. I always tell people all the time, what good is it to get the speaking gig, get the media gig, and you don't, and you're not ready for it. You don't have the speech, you don't have the talk, you don't know how to handle that interview. So definitely, if they call you, absolutely, you're gonna take that call. So
100%.
so Doctors was your first TV?
The Doctors was my first. And I want to be clear too, at that time, I mean, my career has taken so many pivots, but I also had a publicist at that time too.
Okay.
So because I already had a lot under my belt before I had the publicist, it was easy for her to book me for opportunities, right?
Gotcha.
Because it's like Kiaundra has already done a million things. So it's important to have something underneath your belt so your PR person or whatever can pitch you, right? And it's an easy yes versus having nothing.
All right, so we can go this route. When should someone, if I'm a speaker, a professional, 'cause I want to really deal with professionals, because that's why I want you here, because you're a professional. You have a profession that you've turned into this media. So that's what I really want to focus on. So if you're a professional, when should I think about getting a PR person? Because people here, I need a PR person. I need a team, right? Everybody has a team, So to make it work, when should someone get a PR professional to help them in their career?
Yeah, when they get serious. Because a lot of people are just playing around. They're like, oh yeah, I want to be featured in one article sometimes, but I don't really want to pitch and do horror. And they're just very inconsistent, right? And it's just like, man, how bad do you want this? Do you want this for real? Are you hungry for this? Or you just want to, be famous, right? It's like, I have a larger life purpose of why I do this work. This isn't just because I want to be on TV, right? I genuinely want to help people. Like, I know God has put me in this field and in this space to really change lives, so this isn't for play for me. But I think I was in a position where I was trying to manage my private practice, so I was still seeing a whole bunch of clients, right? Still trying to do horror and pitch and be on TV and speaking, and it just got to be a little bit too much for me. Like, I couldn't pitch because I still had clients and paperwork and all of those things to do, and I said, I need a little bit of help here. And so it just came naturally. Someone recommended her to me. And I actually wind up seeing her literally last week, and I haven't seen her in years at an event. Yeah, and so it was so nice connecting with her and seeing her journey as well. But yeah, I got connected with her, and I didn't have a lot of money, and I told her, I said, we just now getting started, sis. I don't have a 5-figure retainer that I could pay you, And so she was like, no, I see your work. I see you're hungry. You're a woman of faith as well. Like, I want to help you as much as possible. So she charged very little, and she started pitching me and reaching out, and we did a whole bunch of things. But I think you should get into that space if you have the income to do it, because PR is not cheap. I know people that charge 5 figures a month, right? And then there's still no guarantee that you're going to get booked for any type of projects. So that, and also when you're ready to be consistent.
Yeah. So I want to talk.
And also when you are, when you need a little bit more bandwidth, right? It's like when you can't do everything yourself, and you're like, I need a little bit more assistance here.
Yep. So now, one thing, because the stuff called, like you said, PR people, even if it's someone's hooking you up, giving you, charging you a discount, you still got to come out of pocket, right? And I think that, and I'd like to try. We're trying to get people to understand that you're in business. It's up to you to invest in your business, not for other people to open doors for you just because you're just getting started. But so as if I'm looking for a PR person, someone's looking for a PR, what should they be doing to get ready to even be ready for a PR person? Like, we all know what our perfect clients are. So how do you make yourself the perfect client to a PR representative?
I think it starts with your branding. Okay. Honestly, right? If you ain't got no website, you iffy on social media, you ain't got no logo, your brand colors all over the place, those are just very basic things. Like, you need to start there and make sure it's cohesive, right? Like if someone is coming to your content, to your page, to your website or whatever, and they don't know what the heck you do, like it's time to revamp some things. And so I would say go all the way back to the basics of things, because I see people who are trying to, do all of the big stuff, and I'm like, girl, your website is trash. Like, you post once every 6 months on Instagram. Like, what are we doing here? Like you need to show up and let people know that you are serious about this. So I would say make sure you get all of the kind of what I call the basics under control. Like I said, social media, consistency, logo, website, brand colors, just those things, and then probably transition over to more of like the hard role, getting online publications, getting yourself out there, those smaller things, if you really want to do something larger long term.
Awesome. I love that. You got to look the part before you get the part. All right. So now we know when you get on media,
it's easy for them to say yes to you. That's what I like. Make it easy for them to be like, Ryan, absolutely.
Make it easy for them to say yes to you. Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. If you got to start explaining stuff, then you probably already dropping the ball. So now we know we get on media, we get on TV. I've got like they're grown now, my kids, but I would always tell my kids, because they were kind of navigating social media. And my daughter would always want to, when she was younger, rant about going viral and this and that. And my thing was always, what good is going viral if you have nothing to do with the virality after you get them, right? If you got the eyeballs, what are you doing with the people? So I say all that because we want to talk about monetization, right? We get on these TV interviews, we get on the shows, because you've done, weren't you on, run down some of your resume of the TV show appearances you've had, and then I want to talk about the monetization piece, because now obviously you're not going to be every show. You're not on doctors talking about, hey, come buy a book, or hey, book me to speak. But when people see you and now they're following you, that's when the money starts to get made outside of the media is like PR. It's the PR to bring people to your ecosystem. So talk about the monetization and ways that you first started monetizing your expertise through the media you were getting.
Yeah, when people see me on like the news and even the doctors, those weren't paid opportunities, right? And so that was just me getting my business and my brand and, just getting myself out there and letting people see that I can do this and I'm doing this type of work and I'm helping people, right? And so a lot of people want to know, like, well, how much did they pay you when you was on there, girl? $0? Right. Zero. Okay. And so I showed up and did my best work, but that is something that obviously I can use in my media reel and sizzle reel and, just to show like, oh, I've been doing this over the years. And so I have done the doctors. That was like CBS. I was on there. I can't even count how many times. I was on a reality TV show called Love Goals on OWN that is no longer on air.
Yeah, I didn't want to say the name because I couldn't remember the name, but I knew it was something. I remember you on Love Goals. I remember watching that. Yep.
Yeah, so that's no longer on air as well. Then I did all of the local news, KTLA, Good Day, Fox, all of those things. And then also the newest thing that I didn't even know was going to develop was true crime. So now I get the opportunity to be on Fatal Attraction and TV One and, all of these different platforms where they're looking for expertise on these true crime shows. And so that's kind of some of the things that I've done over the years.
Yeah, that's awesome, and that's what I know somebody else who was a therapist too, who was on. It wasn't true crime, but it was one of those crime shows on TV One as well. So that's dope too. You get paid for those?
You do.
Okay,
very minimal. Very minimal.
Yeah, but
unless they're a larger platform, like a larger show, like Snapped or something that's been on the air for a long time, then they tend to pay their experts a little bit more, but it's very minimal. Even if you try to negotiate, they're like, this is all we normally pay. So I like to keep it real with people. I'm like, you're not gonna make a whole bunch of money unless you're a recurring. Like I got paid really good to be on Love Goals, right, on the OWN network. Like that was a paid gig. I was there for like 3 weeks shooting, like 16-hour days. Like it was a crazy, amazing experience.
I remember that because I was trying to
pay, and so was the true crime.
I remember I was trying to do something with you at that point too, and you was like, "Look, I'm shooting. I can't do nothing." So I remember that point. So the monetization piece. So what was the first thing you monetized? Do you remember? Maybe not the first. Once you became Kiaundra Jackson of the doctors. How did you begin to monetize your expertise so that you could benefit from the media exposure that you were gaining?
So to be honest, I already had all of the books. I already had all of the products. I already had all of the services before I even started getting on those platforms. And I didn't do that intentionally. That was just like the evolution of my career. You know, I was like, oh, I should probably write a book about mental health, or I should probably write a book about relationships. And so that's what my audience was naturally craving on social media and beyond at that time. And so I started writing books. I started doing courses. I had a membership at that time for like couples. Like I had all of these things like already locked in. So when I started to get the exposure on, you know, national television and things of that nature, my stuff was already in place. So people would easily just find it. Oh yeah, I want this book. I want to take this course. And so I would just be bringing in revenue. Like I call it sleep coins.
Yeah.
Like I'll be asleep. Wake up in the morning and I see the PayPal, I see the Stripe. Like, oh, y'all was going off while I was sleeping.
That's the best kind of money. It's the best kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Making money while you sleep. And so that's what I encourage people to do. You need to have some type of product, some type of services, something. I don't even care if it's just an ebook. Have something that someone can purchase, right? Because they want more of you once they have that initial interaction. So I already had all of the things in place. And so that was just making it easier for me to bring in revenue because I was already, you know, set up.
Yeah. Awesome. Now we're going to, I want to, because you said you started on Facebook with the videos, then we're going back to your personal branding and building. But then YouTube became your thing. So because that's what we really want to get into. Everyone, look, and I say everyone, I mean me. Like I'm trying to crack this YouTube code myself, right? And I know I'll go back and forth. I'm trying to do it. So now I'm like, look, I'm gonna focus. We're gonna do this YouTube thing. So for you, and I know we're at like 16. I checked this morning, 16,000 subscribers on your main page. I don't know how many pages you have, but the main page I saw 16 grand. You've been invited to the as a YouTube creator to the inside stuff. So you get the inside scoop. So if you're watching this show, this is why I had Kiaundra. I don't bring, no willy-nilly people in here. We bring the real deal. So we got Kiaundra, who's been up in it. She's been in the YouTube studios. So talk to us first. Let's talk about why or how did you say, okay, YouTube is going to be the platform?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, YouTube is my baby right now.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest, I did not want to get on YouTube.
Okay.
I have a manager who manages, who manages all of my opportunities. And so she was on me like, you should get a YouTube channel. Because she also managed another creator who had like 10 million subscribers. And she saw that they were just like blowing up, in their space. They weren't a therapist or anything. But they were just blowing up and making a crazy revenue, right? Every single month. Can you imagine 10 million? Like they were bringing in crazy amounts of money. And so she was like, you should think about starting a YouTube channel. I'm like, girl, I don't want to learn another platform. Then I gotta get a camera. I don't know how to edit. I don't know nothing about a thumbnail. Like I just was lazy. I didn't want to learn something additional because I already was managing all of my other social media platforms by myself. And so she was on me for months. And then I finally was like, you know what? Let me pray about it. And once you go to the Lord in prayer about something, he gonna make it clear what he wants you to do. And he was like, yep, that's what you need to do. You need to start YouTube. So I was like, Lord, I ain't got no camera. These people be using all this fancy stuff. I don't know what to do. And so long story short, I just started with my phone, right? And then just did it that way. And so I started, wasn't nobody looking at your girl, wasn't nobody paying attention to my videos. I was getting no likes, no comments, nothing, But I made a commitment to myself. I said, okay, God, I am going to post at least one long form video per week until I get monetized. And so I did that for a whole year without any monetization, just straight making $0, right? And then I finally got to the point where I hit the subscriber amount and then I hit the watch hours, right? You have to have meet a certain criteria to be monetized on YouTube. So once I hit that and I got my first literally 2 cents, I was like, Ryan, it's old and cracking now.
I can make 2 cents. I can make 20 cents.
Yeah.
Keep it going.
I got excited over that first 2 cents. I said, I'm making something. And so from there, I just kept up the momentum. And I was like, you know what, let me see. And so I sat down with my manager and she was like, you should think about like creating some different like shows and some different like genres of like some buckets essentially of what you want to do. So I sat down and we were brainstorming. And so we created the Kiaundra Jackson show. We created Keeping It Real with Kiaundra. And then because the world is so chaotic and crazy, I started like responding from a therapist perspective to like celebrity gossip and like what was going on in that world. And then that evolved and developed into me reviewing movies and TV shows and documentaries as well. And so those are some of my top performing content. People are waiting to see what I have to say in regards to that stuff. And so now it's up and I love it, and it's chaos, but here we are.
It's what you prayed for, though, right? Mm-hmm. So before you had the structure, when that 1 year when you were just posting videos, trying to get to that 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours, do you remember like what were you posting? Was just kind of anything? What was kind of the content you were doing?
Yeah, it was either mental health related stuff or relationships. I didn't really have any direction.
Like was like you more so you like teaching the stuff, or kind of like responding to people's questions? What kind of format did you have?
It was more so listicles, okay. Like here's 5 ways to improve your mental health, or here's 5 ways to know you're having a healthy relationship. Stuff like that. Yeah, that performs really well on my channel as well. Listicles, people just want the content and get out of there. So I've always done kind of like that listicle format. And then every now and then someone would have a good question. I'm like, oh, I can turn this into a video, and so I would turn a question into a video. But I was just doing random stuff. My audio was jacked up. My camera was fuzzy, like it was just ragged. If you go back and look at my channel, you'll see the progression and the growth, because people were like, your audio sucks. It was staticky at times.
Hey, I've been there.
Yeah.
But one, it's always fun to look back and see where you've come. And it also is documentation to show that, hey, you're living what you say, because you can see the growth. But the big thing is that, you said you were doing it for a year before you got monetized. And I think people will go in and think in 2 months, well, my video didn't go viral, so I'm going to quit. This doesn't work. I'm going to go to TikTok. Something like that. But you got to build. And what happens once you finally break, you don't know which video is going to take off. I post stuff now and I'm like, oh, this is going to be dope. I love this. I put some time into it. This is going to be dope. And you'd be like, crickets. And then something else you post and be like, well, how's everybody liking this? Like, what happened with this one? So sometimes you just don't know how it's going to go, but it's the commitment that you had to, as long as you're just putting something up, getting used to it. It's kind of your training. Who was it? Omar Takori? I think that's how you say his last name. El Takori. I forgot how to say his last name. I would say I think it was him who said it. Maybe it was Sean Channel. I don't know. Your first video is always going to be your worst video, So each one will but you got to do that first one in order to improve upon it. So when you finally got the structure, when you started saying, okay, I'll put it this way. Do you remember what your first big video was? Like, what was the first one that kind of went, I use the word viral because everyone knows what that means, but was big for you?
Yeah, absolutely. My first video that's still like the highest top performing video on my channel to this day, and I did that maybe 2-3 years ago, is I did a review on an interview that Amanda Seals did with Shannon Sharp on Club Shay Shay.
Oh, wow.
And everybody was talking about autism and all of those things. And, I'm a licensed therapist, so I was like, let me give y'all the real deal. These things. And people love that video. I mean, some people hated it too, because she has fans, and some people love her, some people hate her, some people like me, some people didn't like me, and so still to this day, that is the highest. I think it has like over 100 or close to 100,000 views.
Okay. Yeah.
100,000, on my channel, which is the highest performing to date. But yeah, that was the one that I was like, oh, this little like things that are trending. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was like a little pocket that I discovered. And I said, oh, let me keep up with what's going on in the celebrity world.
So, and I've peeped a lot. You do a lot of the movie reviews now, and or TV even, because I think the last one I just saw was the Tyra Banks joint. Oh man, is she from Compton? I know she's from Is she from LA? I know she. Is that where she's from? I don't know.
I'm not even sure. I think she's from somewhere in LA, but yeah, I don't think it's Compton. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. Maybe I'm thinking about the movie she was from Compton. Anyway, but I watched that, and I love how. And it's funny because I don't do reviews. Like, that's not what I do. But I have done videos about certain things. It's funny because like the one I did about Tyler Perry, and then I did one about Club Shay Shay. I think when Cat Williams was on there. I think that's when I did. And it wasn't like a review or anything. I just mentioned it, and those was like, you talk about trending, like they take off. So when you started doing the reviews, because you talk about you get good reviews, good comments, you get bad feedback, but I'm sitting there like, well, even the negative feedback is engagement, and that all counts. I think there's a lot of times people don't understand. They sit there and argue with you online when you have a monetized channel. They're just making you money doing it right. So it's like, let me do that. I'm gonna ask you that. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with some of the negativity? We don't make this thing like it's all, roses and begonias.
Begonias.
But I'm not a horticulturist. But so how do you deal with that side of it? The negative side of what comes with being on YouTube.
Well, that's something I'm actually currently dealing with, if we're being honest. And you know me, I'm all about, transparency. And so I have had this struggle where I have been getting so many negative comments, and people are just rude in general. They'll talk about your personal appearance, and some people say they hate my voice and why do I sound like this, or you don't sound like a therapist and you got a gap tooth and go, just weird stuff. Like people just will come for you. And it's always the people who don't have a profile picture, that have, a weird screen name, or, just don't have any videos on their channel. It's always somebody that's probably a loser behind the screen. But I noticed those comments were getting to me a little bit, and so it isn't a huge chunk of the comments that I get, but for some reason we tend to hone in on the negative. I can get 1,000 beautiful, wonderful, nice comments, and then one or two people say something crazy, and I'm thinking about it for 2 days. You know what I mean? And so that's currently something that I have been dealing with, talking to my own therapist about, talking to other YouTubers about, of like, how do you guys manage this? Because it can be too much. We're not built to receive this level of criticism consistently on this high level. And so for me, I block. That's one thing. You say something crazy, I'm like, you know what? You don't even deserve to see any of my videos ever again. You get blocked permanently. Or they may catch me on the right day, and I might have a little slick comment.
Hey, I have been there. I'm like, depending on it. One thing I know I will do most times is I will check, like I'll click a profile, see if it's try to see if it's a real person, because there's a lot of bots out there doing that stuff as well. And if I feel like it's a real person, sometimes I'll even respond. And it's not so much for that person, but I'm like, if this person is typing it, someone else out there is thinking it. So I want to make sure that everybody else knows before they come for me. Or if you come for me, as Omar in The Wire said, if you come for the king, you better not miss. I ain't saying I'm the king. I'm just saying that, if you come for me, understand that there will be a clapback sometimes. Yep. But you mentioned something, and I didn't know before I asked you about how you deal with that. But I would often wonder, and I'm real, like I don't do a whole lot of negative stuff about people online outside of politics. But like if you're a creator, because I am one, I'm like, you're not gonna hear me talk about. I think it's something you gotta be thinking. That's why I'm like all over the place right now, because I'm like, that's why this is a good conversation. Mm-hmm. The kind of person who sits back and doesn't do anything, doesn't offer anything to the world, doesn't create anything, but your sole purpose is as soon as someone else does that and gives a piece of themselves, because when you put a video out, when you put a film out, that's your baby, and it's a part of you. So for someone to just, all they want to do is find out how they can tear it down, like that's a weird kind of person, right? So I've always, wondered how people deal with it. So I try not to be that person. Like I'm not going to be, like, I told my Tyler Perry video, it wasn't about me tearing down Tyler Perry. It was about, like, look, understanding what Tyler Perry is and whether you like him or not, what he does and who he's talking to.
Yeah.
So for you as being that creator and sharing how it impacts you, and I know you say you talk to your therapist sometimes, you block sometimes. Is there anything else that you've been able to do or to make sure that, look, I'm gonna still keep going. I'm gonna still, because that'll knock some people out. One bad comment will knock some people out. Your ponytail ain't right. I think about Jess Hilarious when she first started her videos. She was talking about her hairline and all this kind of stuff, and the little ponytail she had. Look where she is now. So you just keep going. She's from Baltimore too, so that's where I'm from. So shout out to Jess. But what is it in you that was like, I got to keep going anyway? I guess that's the question I want to ask.
Yeah, I never really experienced this until I got on YouTube. Like, I was trying to figure out, why is this bothering me all of a sudden? Where is the root cause of this? Because I'm the type of person who don't care. I'll be like, child, your opinion don't matter to me. I'm doing what God told me to do, and that's that on that, But I noticed that once I started getting more traction on YouTube, like the comments started coming at a quicker rate, the negative comments. If you get one every now and then, right, every 8 months, every once a year, you're like, that's not a big deal. But when you're getting them every day and every other day, multiple times a week, it can be it can take shots to your self-esteem, you know? And so I am absolutely working through this currently right now because I don't want that to be the reason why I quit or I slow down or whatever the case may be. And so for me is making sure that I prioritize what God says over me and about me compared to like what these random people who don't know me have to say, right? It's like, am I doing what God told me to do? Yes. Okay, well, you got to keep it pushing, right? I remember when I worked with Brian, when I first met Brian, actually, I take that back. When I was on the Doctors, because this is how long me and Brian Oates went back. When I was first on the Doctors, I had a whole meltdown before I got
on air or
not on air, but before
wow.
it all happened. Because that was my first national show before doing local, right? So I didn't know how it was going to go. Right. Imposter syndrome was kind of like bubbling up, and I'm like, well, why did they choose me? Maybe they just wanted me as a fill-in. Maybe, what if I mess up? You know, I had all of that, and I had to call my boy Brian because we were super tight at that time. I called him, and he like calmed me down, and all of those things happened, and you know, like I got my head straight. And then there was a whole bunch of people in the comments on the video that one of the videos that I was on the Doctors with. They had said something negative about me, and I saw it. And I called Brian again. I'm like, see, the people hate me.
Right. Wow.
And he was like, Kiaundra, the hate is going to come at the same rate as the love. That's what he told me back then, years ago. And I'm talking about, this is what, 2016, 20 something of that nature, the whole decade ago. And he was right. That still holds true. You know, people are going to love on you, but at the same time, that hate is going to come as well. And so for me, it is prioritizing what God says, blocking people, sometimes clapping back, but I'm trying to do better with that because that's not of the Lord. Yeah. I genuinely be like,
the Lord has some clapbacks now, but you just got to keep it holy. But
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, you know, I can go too far with my words. Right. Like I'm swift with my words, and so I know God is like, calm down, Kiaundra. You don't need to rip this person to shreds, you know.
Right.
And so I'm capable, but we're trying to not do that. And so for me, even sometimes I just respond back. I hope you have a beautiful day. Like, God bless you.
Yeah.
Or just thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. You know, and then they don't have anything else to say after that because they thought I was going to have something negative.
Right.
You know,
and that's what they want. They want that. They want you to go back and forth with them, and feel like they got you. But yeah, when you just like, thank you, be blessed. They can't say nothing else after that. Yeah. So how a couple more questions. Then we're going to take a quick break, and then I got some rapid fire questions that we do. Our fun questions that you don't know are coming. Not that you knew any of these were coming, but I don't give my questions to my guests before the shows, y'all. But I want to talk more about the YouTube. Because like I said, you are an insider. I'm giving you all these kind of titles. You're a YouTube insider. What is that? Like, you got this YouTube, and I genuinely, I'm not the only person, but I think people don't really believe it. Like, I genuinely root for people who I follow, admire, learn from, and you are one of those people. So I never get offended. Like when you like, look, I'm busy, I can't do X, Y, Z. I'm like, cool, go do you. So when I see you doing your thing and getting the YouTube opportunities, like I genuinely am proud of you and happy for you, right? So just know that. And I know I'm not the only one out there. But so when you got the YouTube thing, and I keep saying thing because you're going to explain what it is. Like, what was it for? How did you get it? And what happens now with you on the inside of YouTube?
Well, thank you for rooting for me because, you know, people be secret haters out here. And so once I was monetized. Once I got monetized, I randomly was just going about my business. I'm still posting once a week at a minimum, right, on YouTube at this point, because that's the promise that I made to God. I'm monetized, and then I get an email saying, hey, we've chosen you to be a part of this YouTube Shorts program. And I'm like, is this spam? Like, is somebody punking me? Or what is happening, you know? And so it wind up being legit, and I wind up being a part of the YouTube Shorts program. And it's basically like a creator program where they have a whole bunch of creators who have been consistent and stuff. And they give you like weekly workshops to teach you about YouTube, the ins and outs of it, the algorithm, the thumbnails. I mean, they just really go hardcore with you on those. And I mean, it's thousands of people in this program. But because I live in Los Angeles, and one of the biggest YouTube offices here in Los Angeles, they invited me to come to the office for a tour. And I was like, heck yeah, I'm going. So I go, I see this beautiful place, because if you guys don't know, like, essentially Google and YouTube are the same. So it's like you're essentially going to the Google office, but it's considered YouTube. And I mean, this place is massive, free food, whatever. It's amazing. Gyms, places you can sleep. It's awesome, right? So I'm taking a tour of this. I am the underdog there, meaning every other creator that was there had hundreds of thousands of subscribers, 1 million subscribers plus. At that time, I think I had probably 5,000 subscribers.
Really?
And that's how I knew.
Don't glaze over that, because that's important. Like, you didn't have to have 100,000 to be recognized by YouTube. You just had the consistency, and you were monetized and had the 5,000. Okay, keep going.
Yep. But that's also how I knew that I was supposed to be there, and it was a God thing, right? Because off of sheer numbers alone, shouldn't have been in the room. Like, absolutely should not have been, right? And so I wind up speaking to, they give you like a YouTube manager that is directly like connected with you. And so out of all of the people that he manages, I was the only one who showed up. So so out of all these thousands of people, all of these invites, I was the only one who showed up from his group.
What?
And so I got a chance to talk with him, and he told me that, and he was like, you're going to forever be like sketched into my brain, because you were the one who was consistent. You showed up. I got to meet you in person. Like, you are always going to be my number one person. When opportunities come, I'm going to think of you, And so that led me to 4 other YouTube creator programs, different ones for like the YouTube shopping program. They have a program specifically just for licensed therapists. They have all different types of things happening at YouTube. So I'm in 5 different creator programs currently, literally at this point in the game. And I get to go to the YouTube office all of the time, because they have in-person events there. They have all different types of things. They have movie premieres, and so they always are inviting me to like all these different movies before they come out, and all of these wonderful things. And so I get to learn a lot about what happens with the YouTube platform. And I recently went to the office because I'm a part of like their creator research. So before they release any type of new features to the program, they like show it to certain creators and let them, see what it is. And if y'all like it, we gonna put it out there. If y'all don't, we ain't doing it. And so I did that. I think it was like a few weeks ago. Went to the YouTube office for that as well. So it's just been I'm gonna be there next week all day. There's just been a beautiful evolution of, once you say yes to something and you're consistent, you never know where it's going to lead, where it's going to yield you. And I'm looking forward to, the next phase of this journey. So it's been dope.
You up in the YouTube Illuminati. Ain't that something? Who knew? No, just jokes. That's awesome. What are you able to share? One thing that has helped you most about what you learned in your videos, and then maybe one thing that, or if it's not the same thing, one thing that you could give our viewers that would help them most about growing their channel. Just get to the monetization piece.
Ooh. There's so many. One, remember that YouTube is a search engine. So don't just create what you want to create. Create what people are actually going to search within your niche, right? So that's the first thing. Second thing I would say is thumbnails matter. You can have the best video in the world, but if nobody clicks on your video because your thumbnail and that little picture that you see, before you click on the video, if that's raggedy, so make sure you put energy into your thumbnail. What else? I would probably say that they care the most out of all the platforms that I have gotten paid from on social media. They care the most about their creators.
Oh, that's good to hear.
They're always developing something new to make things easier behind the scenes of different ways. I think there's like 10 ways to get paid on YouTube. Okay. Yeah, so there's always different ways. And so that's why I tell people, TikTok and all of the Instagram and the whatever is cool, and you probably can make a bag over there, but long term, YouTube has never switched up on their monetization program when it comes to paying. Like Instagram will start and then they'll take it away. It's like they don't do that on YouTube. So it's like they're the most consistent, and I love that.
Cool. Do you offer a paid class or anything that you do to teach YouTube?
Me and Brian.
Only reason I'm asking, like I know about. The only reason I'm asking is I want to get a little deeper into some of the things you just said. But if it's something people got to pay for,
no, let's do it. We can talk about it.
Cool. All right, that's all. I'll make sure I'm being giving away the good stuff for free. So, the thumbnail, the thumbnail. What makes a great thumbnail?
It depends on your niche.
Okay, we're talking about professionals. Somebody who's a
Yes, but it
professional.
even depends on that, right?
Okay.
So depending on if it's an interview like this, right? Like
Okay.
I will put a picture of you and a picture of me and then some really bold text.
Gotcha.
That's probably like 3 to 4 words, nothing
Okay.
too big, right? If it's like a talking head video, which is something that I do all of the time, where it's just me talking about a particular thing, I'll have a picture of me with a facial expression. So I'll look shocked or looking to the right or looking to the left or looking mad or, some type of strong emotion, because people are like, well, why is she looking like that?
Right.
And then that makes them want to, click on that. My rule of thumb is to have anywhere between 3 to 5 words on the thumbnail, just to kind of give it a little bit more context. And bold colors. I try my best to have something that stands out. So a purple, whatever, something that is going to pop. If it's a review or something, obviously I'm going to put something related to that movie or to that show on the thumbnail with the facial expression of me. But it kind of depends on your niche, honestly.
Okay. For you, do you have a sweet spot as far as how long you like your content to be for your long form content?
Yeah. For me, what works the best is under 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. I used to do longer, and then like my retention rate was going down. So that means people weren't staying to the end. So I would rather have a shorter video and people stay almost to the end versus this long video and they're only watching 10% or 20%, because that's how you keep, your money flowing, but also too, like the retention rate is basically how they push your videos to see if there's going to be more, or they want more people for it to be shown to more people.
Okay. So that's how I was going to go next. So you got retention rate is based on how long they watch it. And that's important because if people are watching longer, they're going to show it to more people. All right, so that's good.
And they're going to pay you a higher rate. So people don't know this, but every video makes a different amount of money.
Okay.
Based on the retention rate.
Okay.
So if somebody watches a 10-minute video and they only watch 1 minute, I'm just making up something. They may pay me $1 for every 1,000 people that watch it. But if they watch it 90%, they may pay me $20 for every 1,000 people who watch that video.
Got it. Okay. I know that's a big one. People don't know, how long should I do it? I like YouTube and go to YouTube because I forgot who, again, said it. But YouTube, like you said, it's a search engine. And so someone who goes and searches today how to write a book, my video will come up that I did 10, 12 years ago. People don't do that on TikTok. Yep. They're not searching that stuff on Instagram. Even if you think about it now, you go to Instagram, I'm speaking personally, I hardly ever go to someone's page. I'm looking at whatever's in my feed. But even if I go to your page, or maybe I just follow you, I'll go to your page, see what you're about, I'm going to do this 2 times and let the screen refresh. Whatever's in them first, was it 9 times 3, 27 windows? That's all I'm going to know about YouTube. I'm not scrolling, Instagram. Keep scrolling. So that's why YouTube also is so powerful, because of the longevity. You build it and it stays there for forever. Yeah. As a videographer, media guy myself, I'm partial to landscape videos. Like this will be landscape video. That's just my thing. I hate the vertical. I don't say I hate it, but I refuse to convert everything to vertical video, because I'm like, YouTube, when I built, the reason I had the studio, the reason I do the cameras, the reason I promote and offer this to other people is because my thing is always about, I want my stuff to be able to be on TV, a streaming platform, and compete with whatever else is on there. I don't want people to see my content think it's just social media content. That makes sense. So that's why I wanted to have you on here to talk about YouTube, because it's not going anywhere, y'all. It's not going anywhere. So
not at all.
All right, one more question on this, because I want to. We don't want to give them all the secrets. We want to let them know that you know what you're talking about. But we don't want to give them all the secrets. So, what do you, if you have any insight on what's coming next, or what should people kind of say? If you're going to do, if you're just getting started in YouTube, I would say not just getting started. If you've been doing YouTube for a while, this is what's coming down the pipe. Like maybe you should start considering this. I know shorts came out; it's been a big thing. You talk about there's 10 different ways to monetize. Is there any one thing that you can say, you know what? So for the new person or the existing person, maybe you should start exploring this avenue with your content on YouTube.
Not necessarily the content, but the ways that you publish it. So they're going to start being really big on AI, right? Like AI helping you to like edit your videos down or to create a thumbnail for you or to generate. They already have it where there's an AI feature in there where it can help you generate video ideas. Like if you stuck one day and you're like, I just don't know what to post this week, you can go in and based on the content you've already created for your channel, it will generate ideas for you. Okay. So they're going to be really big on AI. I know people have different feelings about AI, and you know that's a different conversation for another day. But if I was a creator that's starting out or one that wants to go to the next level, I will pay attention more to AI and how to utilize that in my channel. Not saying to make like an AI twin or things of that nature, but to how to like get your content out quicker or refine it and to make it a little bit better. So
yeah, and that's what I was going to ask you. I forgot that question because. YouTube recently like shut down, demonetized a bunch of accounts that were using AI, like just posting AI content. There was no human interaction. It's just, we call it AI slop. I haven't seen the stuff to call it slop or not, but that was one thing that they were doing as well. Well, you can confirm for me that they were, making sure that they were protecting the creators. Because if I go make a real video, it takes time to do it. But then someone else is making AI videos, they can do 100 videos in 10 minutes and just flood YouTube and get paid for that. Then YouTube said, no, we're not letting that happen, right?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right, let's take a quick break. Let's take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to have some more fun. This has been great. We've talking to Kiaundra Jackson. I didn't give you a moniker. I didn't give you all these different titles. We'll call you the YouTube, I don't know. We'll find out something. Do you have one already? Do you call yourself something? The YouTube queen or something like that? Not big on titles. All right, but anyway, leave in the comments. What should we start? What should Kiaundra's new Kiaundra? What did I say? Kiaundra, her moniker be? So let's take a quick break. We're coming right back. Want to be dope? Listen, content creation is not your problem. Clarity is. You can create and post all the content in the world and still not see the results you want because of one main reason. Your content lacks one clear message for one clear audience. And if you've been posting, recording, guessing, overthinking, and still not converting how you know you should, it's not because you lack talent, it's because you haven't cracked the code yet. Believe me, I've been there. That's why I created the Cracking the Content Creation Code. It's a free guide I put together to assist authors, speakers, and experts to finally position yourselves as the go-to authority by producing compelling, high-impact, high-converting content in just 4 hours a month. In this free guide, I'm going to show you how to master your signature message, build a revenue-generating media platform, and maximize your content to multiply your efforts across platforms. If you've ever thought, I know what I want to say, I just don't know how to package it and consistently show up in a way that gets me booked and actually makes me money, this is for you. But I'm a trainer at heart, so I'm taking it a step further. I'm hosting a free live webinar, Cracking the Content Code, Mastering Your Message, where I'm exposing the one thing 80% of personal development content is missing that stops it from converting, and I'm breaking down the exact framework I use to amplify my client's voice, story, and authority before they ever hit record. You're going to leave this webinar knowing who your ideal customer avatar is and exactly how to market to them without being salesy. So download the free guide and save your seat for the next free webinar, and let's get you creating the content that actually speaks directly to your ideal prospects, magnifies your brand like an authority, and monetize your expertise. Head to mypodcastpartner.com/code and let's get it cracking. I'll see you on the other side of the webinar. All right, welcome back. This is what's quickly becoming some people's favorite part of the show. And it's the rapid fire. We got some questions we're just going to ask. I'm not going to ask you all the questions, but we got some questions we're going to run through. We got to know professional Kiaundra. We've got to know a lot about you. You've helped pour into our audience. Now we're just going to ask some questions that let us know who Kiaundra is off camera, right? First question I like to ask everybody is that when did you realize you are dope? What was that moment of clarity for you? You realize, you know what? I'm dope just how I am, and I'm going to pour into this.
Ooh, the first thing that comes into mind, and it just came back to me not too long ago because I was looking through old photos, was I was salutatorian. Is that the right word? Not valedictorian, but it's like the second one.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I wasn't either, so I can't pronounce it. You was real smart at what you're saying.
In middle school.
Okay.
And I had to give a speech. Yeah, okay. And so I think that was the moment. The little skinny, quirky, weird Kiaundra that was just now coming into puberty or whatever, I think that was the moment where I was like, oh yeah, I'm kind of that girl. Like, none of my other friends had high GPAs. Like, yeah, I'm her. I'm she.
Nice. I like that. What was your first job? And what was the greatest lesson you learned that job taught you?
Ooh, I used to work at the mall. That was my first job. And I don't even know, the sales clerk at like a clothing store.
Okay. You remember the name of the store?
It was called Red Eye, but they don't exist anymore.
Most of them don't.
I was like, they don't even exist anymore at all. They went out of business. No shade to that person or the owner, but I would probably say how to manage money was it was like the lesson that I learned. That was my first time having a job, getting income, and it's like, what do I do with this money? Like, this isn't from my parents, and so it was figuring out like what little bills that I had to pay that my mom gave me or whatever, or like I had a car at that time too, so just like putting gas in my car. So it taught me financial responsibility early on.
Nice. Dope. All right, so we know you're the YouTube queen, you're this therapist, you're mastering the media. What is a talent or skill that you wish you had?
That I wish I had?
Mm-hmm.
In regards to that?
No.
Or just
okay.
Anything I wish I could sing. I wish I had a really good singing voice.
Yeah.
I would probably be really prideful if I did, because I would really be like singing all the time and just be like, oh, I'm amazing. But yeah, I wish I had vocals. I wish I could sing real good.
That's always been mine too. Like, I wish I could sing. But I would be the same way, like always singing. Those people who can sing, who always sing, like, okay, we know you can sing. Stop it. I'd be hating on singers.
Or like you go to karaoke and then people can really sing at karaoke. You're like, sit down.
Right. And they normally the ones who are sitting there. Everybody else getting up and they sitting in the bar and blowing. Like, come on, yo, for real, stop. So, but yes, all right. What has you saying that's dope right now?
What has me saying that's dope? I would probably say that people who aren't afraid to travel. Like when I'm watching other people, and I mean, the world is chaos right now, but like people who just like get up and go and like they go to different countries and they just learn different cultures and stuff. I'm like, that's so dope to just have the courage to just, especially if they're taking like a solo trip. Yeah. I think that's something that I've been looking at right now. Like, that's fire.
I've got a college classmate, since you brought that up. Her name is, I'm going to say your name. I'm going to say your whole name, but her name is Stephanie. And I swear every other month she's in some exotic country. And I'm like, first of all, do you work? But exactly the same thing, because I get a little stressed about traveling. Honestly, I do. But just to see, I would love to see just different. We got to get out of this country and just see the rest of the world, even get out your state sometimes. So I like that. Great answer. A couple more. All right. What is, let me see. I'll do this one. What is a question that you wish I had asked you today? Make sure we covered everything.
That I wish you asked me today?
Yeah. Anything that I didn't say, oh, he didn't ask me this. Something I didn't cover.
Ooh. Yeah, like my biggest failure moment.
That's funny, because I skipped that one. I had that on my list and I skipped that one. So since you brought it up, let's talk about your biggest failure. What was it?
I don't know if I would classify it as a failure now, but in the moment, I felt like a failure. I did not pass my licensure exam to become a therapist on the first time. Okay. And I missed it by 2 points.
Oh, that's probably what
I felt like I wanted to die. I wasn't suicidal, but I was just like, oh my God, I kept like 2 points is crazy. Like, just pass me, And so it didn't work like that, right? And I mean, I just felt horrible. I was sad. I was like defeated. And then you got to wait a certain amount of time to be able to take it again, because I wanted to take it the next day. And then they were like, no, ma'am, that's not how it works, right? And so I wound up obviously taking it again and passing. But yeah, that first time, that was a shot to my ego, a shot to my mental health, everything. That 2 points almost took me out.
Yeah. It's like in sports, like, would you rather lose by 20 or lose by 1, right? Like, if you got 20 points wrong, you probably felt you still would have been upset. But at least you've been like, Oh, shoot, I really need to work on some stuff. 2 points that'll haunt you. All right. I'm gonna give you a chance to. I know you be leaving the haters in the comments alone, but I'm gonna give you a chance right now to say it with your chest. What's bugging you right now?
What's bugging me?
Mm-hmm. It could be anything. Just what's bugging you right now that you're like, you know what? I'm tired of this.
People who don't know how to disagree with you without being disrespectful. That's bugging me. Even if it is online, you can disagree with what I say. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, we can have a dialogue about that. But when you are rude and disrespectful and nasty about it, and you don't know how to express yourself because your emotional intelligence isn't there, that is bugging my soul. It's like, y'all got to be better with communication, especially talking to people you don't know. So,
Yep. And turn into the personal attacks and stuff like that. Yeah, I feel you on that one. We here. We should. It's not on my list. What's your what's your zodiac sign?
I don't believe in them, but it's Virgo. I'm a Virgo.
Now, and that's why I say, like, I don't believe in all the horoscopes and all that kind of stuff, but I like the personality traits. And I don't know many. I'm a Capricorn. I just know Capricorn. But like, you're very straightforward and stuff. I was just wondering. Okay, Virgo. Last question. And I ask this to everyone. This is your Ask Me Anything moment. You get to ask me one question about anything. Doesn't have to be about today's conversation, because it's about anything. What would you like me to answer?
What is the thing you are hoping for next that's big in your career?
Oh, I like that. What am I hoping for next that's big in my career is the growth of Greenhouse Media. I really want to take this media platform, and not just for myself, but open it up. I would like to be able to produce shows and have a whole network, kind of like what Charlemagne has and some others who are out there who have platforms where I really, and I said it earlier, about just rooting for people. I really know the power of community. And that's why I do what I do. Like, I know there's people out there with voices, people out there who need platforms, and I would just love to be that guy to be like, look, let's all do it together, and let's go out there and make it, work together. So Greenhouse Media, that's what I'm gonna do next. Just be able to be that next platform. We've had some we've had some false starts at that. I'll put it that way, trying to build something, but it's coming. So that's next for me.
Okay, so we got something that we can look forward to from you.
Absolutely. So, Kiaundra, this has been wonderful. I want you, and I really should have started at the beginning. I always do this, but tell people how they can follow you, how they can work with you, whatever it is that you want them to know about what they can get more of Kiaundra after today's show.
Well, thank you for having me, Ryan. This has been
Absolutely.
great. I haven't done a virtual interview in a while, so this is giving me... It's fueling me up.
Okay. I'm glad I could do that. Glad I could do that.
Yeah, absolutely. But for the people who want to stay connected with me, y'all already know I'm focused on YouTube right now. So go on over, if we're not already on here, go on over to YouTube. It's my name, Kiaundra Jackson, and just hit the subscribe button. Just stay connected with your girl. If you want to check out my website, you can go to KiaundraJackson.com. But on all social media platforms, I'm at Kiaundra Jackson. So just stay connected with me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate this. It's been a long time coming. Hopefully this is the first of many other times we can work together in the future, because like I said, I ain't going nowhere. I know you ain't going nowhere. So we going to be around. Let's build this thing. All right. So I want to thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all. Make sure, again, you follow Kiaundra. Make sure you follow Born to Be Dope. Make sure you follow me. I'm Raji is Dope on all platforms that I'm on. But make sure you definitely subscribe to the channel. All right, so we can help grow. I want to be up in the YouTube Illuminati too. So, sorry, I had to say it. But no, we'll talk to you next week. Be dope.
This is the illest rhyme I ever wrote. Said I was born to be dope.